Hey everyone, Buddha here, gonna bring you another StarCraft 2 cast from the Gamecom Plantronics tournament. If this is your first time joining us, these are games from the Gamecom tournament. If you don't know what it is, you can check them out at gamecom.plantronics.com/sc2. They have decided to host an open StarCraft 2 tournament, so everyone is free to join. Amateurs and pros alike, and there are $2,000 in prize pool at the end, so it is a great way for amateurs to get a chance to play in these big tournaments. Amateurs, they are open from bronze to masters to grandmasters. Whatever you are, you can register here. And thank you for Gamecom actually wanting to get implied in the esports community. They have done a great job, and they actually recruited a few pros in this tournament, including from player from Czech 6 Cheesy, that I will be casting a few moments after this one. Our two players here are Sanfos, our Red Zerg, and our hero baegopa. I'll call him B for the rest of the tournament. We actually saw baegopa's games before. In the first round, he won 2-0, and this time he is against a Zerg player. Let's see how he does. B is actually a high platinum player. He is diamond in all his other leagues, so 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. And Sanfos, I did look him up on SC2 ranks. He is a diamond player, so hopefully he'll give us a good show here. And let's see if he can actually take down a platinum player. That would be quite nice to see. Actually, the underdog winning is always fun to see. Now remember guys, these are some on-demand casts, so if you want to be casted, don't hesitate to send me your replays, buddhazerg@gmail.com. I'll be posting them all on my stream, on my channel on YouTube, and also I am streaming these live as I cast them, so follow me on Justin TV if you want to know when I go live. Now for this game, since Sanfos is a bit StarCraft 2 challenge to say it, he is only silver, so I will try and get a perspective from his point of view and keep this video educational. So let's see what he can actually do to make his game better. Now you see he is actually occupied at microing his drone over there and forgot his spawning pool. So Sanfos, if you are watching, the spawning pool is a lot more important than microing your drone. What you can do is just shift click your drone around in the base. So you select him, shift click everywhere, and he'll just loop around. While he loops around, you build your pool and come back to him when you have the time. Now 17 supply for Sanfos. Your overlord should actually start at 16 instead of earlier. You can see you have a lot of supply buffer here, so you have spent a lot of money there. Now you can actually double queen as soon as your spawning pool finishes. They should be a bit earlier in that case. You can always save at larva if you're not sure about what the Protoss is doing, but in this case you do have an overlord there and know absolutely what's going on. So a lot of drones coming out, that is perfect for our Zerg player. Now that his spawning pool is done, you can see the double queen starting. He can actually transfer about half these drones and plant a few spawn crawlers here just to be safe. Only one should be enough here, since you know that nothing is coming, at least for now, so droning up is the most important part right now. Remember, this is on Shattered Temple, and it is in close spawns, so the Zerg player will have a lot of difficulty. What you usually see here are some spine crawler pushes along with roaches and lings to take down the expo, and that works quite well on this map. Now another spine crawler going into the main base. This one's quite useless. I mean, what do you expect to come in this base? Not much. This one, if you're going to plant the third one, it should actually be in the low ground here to prevent any kind of walk by. These queens are injecting larva. It is nice. You actually lost your overlord. That is not good. Now you should be double producing overlords. There they come. And we're back to being oversupplied. But during that time, we can actually see that baegopa is going for a fast expansion behind these 3 gates. So 3 gate expand, gonna be very sentry heavy here since he does have that double gas going, and as soon as warp gate finishes you can expect 3 sentries to warp in. And as I say that, he does not warping any more sentries, so he's making me eat my words right now. We'll just wait to see what Sanfos actually is going for. He is getting a link speed right now and producing a lot of links. So Sanfos, if you're gonna attack, you want to saturate this base before producing all those units, because right now you are very safe, especially since the Protoss player actually expanded behind this. There is no way that he can attack, especially with those two spine crawlers in front, and if that third one was in front, it would be very hard for the Protoss to actually expand. So you can saturate this base, then get your Roach Warren, then produce only Lings and Roaches. Roach Warren going up for Sanfos, so he is wisely going to try and bust this down with a lot of Roaches and a lot of Lings. But again, with only 4 drones here, you really need that saturation before you start mass producing Roaches, because they are very expensive. Still, on 1 gas, that is fine, since you don't really need gas or anything but Roaches at this point. He is on top of his larva inject, a bit behind, but not too big of a deal, because he won't be able to produce off of 2 bases with only roaches. Now he is trying to attack this base. It might succeed, but there are a lot of zealots here. That's why you actually need to produce your roaches. Remember, when you are attacking, you want to use your hotkeys, just the 5S RRR. You actually see his 2 hatcheries are on 1 and 2. Sanfos, you might want to actually put your army on 1 and 2. I usually save 1, 2, 3 for my army. 4 are my queens and 5 are my hatcheries. That way I can just press a 5S and produce whatever units I want. I usually hotkey all my hatcheries on 1 hotkey. That way I can select them all and just use up all my larvae at once. Sanfos, also, if these roaches were with the lings during that first attack, these zealots wouldn't have been as effective, and he could have done a lot more damage. He did manage to kill 10 workers though, so nice little attack there. But now that there are laws of zealots, these units, the lings won't be as effective. A few roaches gonna make their way forward. Let's see what they can do. These sentries actually have a couple of force fields left, so they can be split in half, and you can actually micro these roaches back and forth. There he goes, actually turning around. You can actually kite them for very long, these zealots. Now that he sees there are roaches up, B is warping in stalkers instead of zealots. Very wise decision, since stalkers are fairly good against roaches and zealots are fairly bad against roaches. Still, no saturation here by Sanfos, so this is really an all-in. If you're gonna all-in like this, these spine crawlers really aren't that useful, because you see they are just sitting at home. If you want to make them useful, get your lair, get some overlords right up here and plant your spine crawlers. With that, the overlord poop, you can actually move forwards with the spine crawlers, and they do huge damage. They will contain, and you can actually move forward little by little as if you had huge tanks. And there they go, now repositioning themselves in front and still massing up roaches here. Our Protoss player did take the advantage economically, so this is an all-in now for Sanfos. He should try and pick off zealots one at a time. He is doing a great job of microing here, but his macro is actually slipping a bit. He has so much minerals. He could use a macro hatch right now. He should even be able to produce off of 2 non-saturated bases here. So Sanfos, watch your macro a bit. You can see this queen 134 energy, this one at 114. That's a lot more larva, and this money could be spent at this point. Now he is half droning up and half producing units. Really want to commit here. He is getting overlord speed, so I believe that he will be pushing his spine crawlers in front as soon as he gets that. There he goes, overlord speed. These ones making their way to the center of the map. Gonna start pooping creep everywhere. But now our Protoss player has actually held off that attack, and now is just gonna start booming forward. You can see he's already ahead in supply, as well as this army gonna be able most likely to push this back, since there are a lot of lings and a lot of zealots here. And if Sanfos doesn't actually make something happen right now, he will fall behind as this game goes on, because you see there are only 27 drones, 240 probes. Now getting burrow and burrow movement, I like this. This is a last resort. If your all-in didn't work, you need to do something. But with this observer, I believe Sanfos should be able to see this. This observer will completely deny any kind of roach burrow micro here. And now that B is attacking with that single immortal, going to do a lot of damage. He decides to retreat because of these 3 spine crawlers. They can actually be moved up here, because this choke will enable you to control at least part of the center of the map and push forward from there. Now trying to engage here against this army, not a wise decision, especially with this Colossus in the mix. That army will just melt through. Colossus with thermal lands can actually outrange these, so I believe that D will be able to actually push here and do huge damage. A few Mutalisks on the field. Gonna try and target down this Colossus, but Mutalisks are not a fighting unit. You don't want them in your main army when you engage, and they just melted away. These roaches are tracked from the force field. There is an observer here, so that burrow will enable him to move back to his spine crawlers, but with the rest of this army here, I do believe this will be a good game, and B will win the first game here. Tune in for the second game. I'll be testing it right after. And let's just wait for the GG. You can see the Queen just melting away in fire from the thermal lance of the Colossus. This expansion is going to go down. And expect GG anytime soon here by B and by Sanfos. And there it is. And tune in for the next game.